Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Beneath the Surface, where we discuss political, social and Islamic affairs taking place around the world. Today we'll be discussing Muslim and Christian dialogue. Joining us in this studio is a priest from the Church of England and cultural critic and commentator, Frank Galli. Thank you very much for joining us today. What does religion mean?
Well, religion, etymologically, the root meaning is supposed to be a binding, something which binds people together. But it binds people horizontally, one to one another, but then also vertically towards the author of reality, the creator, God. So in a way, it sort of creates a sense of binding or union at the earthly level community, but it's not merely on a horizontal secular plane, but it connects us up with the transcendent, with heaven, with God. And religion is certainly, I believe it is the deepest dimension for a human being to have meaning in life. Because religion incorporates really all the things. It's religion is love, religion is justice, religion is loyalty, religion is trust. So in a way, it's all a combination of all the qualities, the virtues, which makes us human beings and not animals.
So you're saying the purpose of religion is a way of life, in a way?
Well, if a religion is not a way of life, religion is nothing. It is a way of life. It is a way of life which changes, which makes a difference. There are some forms of religiosity in the West today which is not quite clear what difference they make. Because people may go to a place of worship once a week, may come out an hour later, but then the way they live does not indicate that the kind of type of worship has many difference. Now, take Muslims. We know that Muslims' religion does make a difference because you see them praying a number of times a day. You see them giving some of their money, zakat, because part of the obligation of a religion. So there is salat prayer, there is zakat, almsgiving. You see them going on the Hajj, on the pilgrimage, you see them fasting during Ramadan, and you see sometimes dressing in a particular way, although that is maybe not essential, but certainly something which is visual. So there is an example of a religion which quite clearly makes a difference. So religion, in Christianity also there are monks, nuns, who have a particular way of dressing. But also what's more important, they take vows, the special promises, which traditionally the 3 vows was poverty, which means not being indigent, but it means not following materialism. Chastity, which is a way of regulating one's own behavior vis-a-vis sex, and obedience, which is a way, because of a monastic life, for example, you have to obey the instructions of your superior, the person in charge of your community, who is, in a way, stands for Jesus Christ. Now, of course, not all Christians are monks and nuns. But the idea is that every Christian ought to have a rule of life. And his rule of life should see himself or herself following the way of Jesus Christ. And how do we see Jesus Christ? We follow Jesus Christ. And we read about what he did in the Gospels, the Injil, and we see how he went about healing, he went about curing people, caring for people, but also rebuking the unjust, also rebuking the wrongdoers. And forgiveness, which is very important in Christianity, forgiveness. Certainly, if you cannot forgive your enemies, which is very difficult because it's very easy to forgive somebody else's enemies, but your own enemies, especially someone who has insulted you personally, Christianity is very important to forgive. If you can't do that, you're a bad Christian.
Why do people identify themselves with religion?
Well, in many cases, because they were brought up that way, and in a way that's right, isn't it? Our parents have brought us up in a particular way, so it is part of the way we grew up. It's part of our affections. But I think once we are grown up, there is also we come to a point we can reflect on what we are doing, and we can give a deeper assent. As children, we just told, in a way, like, brush your teeth in a way. So I think, but then you realize that it's important to do it for healthy reasons. And certainly in religion, you then gain a deeper insight. Many people don't have to do that, because it's fair to say that there are different levels of. Not everybody's a mystic. In Islam, we have Sufism. In Christianity, we have various forms of mysticism. But the Sufis are people who go deeper, don't they? They want to have a special relationship with God and so on. Not everybody's like that. And not everybody has to be like that. So because in Islam you keep the 5 pillars, and if you keep those, but also you can do more than that. In Christianity as well, an ordinary Christian has to follow a number of duties, actually, 10 commandments. But if you want to be perfect, Jesus did say, take all you have, sell it, give it to the poor, and follow me. He said that to a young man who went away sorrowful because he had great possessions. He couldn't do it. You see. So not everybody can go the whole way. But religion is a way of enriching your life, finding meaning, finding sense. It is not a charade. It is not we are born, we grow up, we grow old and then die, and that Shakespeare says a tale told by an idiot signifies nothing. No. For a believer, life is not a tale told by an idiot, signifies nothing. It is a tale which has a great meaning. It means a lot. And the author of a tale is God.
What brings a success to religion?
Which brings?
Success to religion.
Success? What do you mean by that, Nadia?
Some religions, there are many religions which are still being made today, and there are some religions that were back in the past which today don't have as much significance. For example, like Judaism, Christianity and Islam. Let's just focus maybe on these 3 main religions. Yeah. What brought success, do you think, to these main religions?
Well, first of all, I will want to analyze a little bit this word success, because it's a word which today in our world can give a wrong impression, because success is very often associated with celebrities. You don't mean it that way. But I only wanted, I would say there is divine plan. If it flourishes, it means that God is behind it. Now, in Christianity, we have, in a way, a paradoxical way very often in looking at what is success or victory, because we believe that Jesus, of course, was crucified, died on the cross. I know Islam takes it from view, but we believe that. And the cross was a defeat, because you were a criminal if you ended up on the cross. And he looks as if he has failed. But then, of course, there is a spanner in the works. God is smart, and there is the resurrection. So the enemies of Christ are defeated. So what looked like a defeat is actually a victory. It looks like a paradox. This category of paradox is very important in Christianity. Less so, I think, perhaps in Islam, although in Islam, as an example, again, among the Sufis. But on the whole, Islam, I think, is less important. But ultimately, it's got to be the will of God. God is at work. If it flourishes, however, it doesn't have to flourish in the immediate moment. It can appear, some great saints, and then their lives, the great Saint St. Francis Xavier, he died abandoned by everybody in a little island. A man who was supposed to help him did not. But then he's now one of the greatest saints, the Apostle of the East. He converted hundreds of thousands of people in Japan, and his name is is revered everywhere. So what looked like a defeat has actually turned out to be victory. Again, this paradox.
There are many Islamic scholars which state that religion isn't just a relation between you and God, it's more of a communal thing, which is what you actually described yourself. What more can we do to make more gatherings as a community, do you think?
Yes, you're right, of course. I didn't want to give impression that it is an individual only. It is a community. When you speak of the Ummah, we speak of a church. The church is the Christian Ummah, in a way. It's for people of faithful gathered. And they worship together, they pray together, and they give money, give alms together, and they embark in works of mercy. They help the poor, they visit the sick. So we think when we are doing, Christ is doing. So what can we do? Well, we can never do enough. We can never do enough. It's never enough. Here is also very important. I think it's important to use our intelligence. Because goodwill is very important, but God is also the author of our reason. Our intelligence is very important. It's what is it? Aql in Islam, is it Aql? And because it looks as if, we could do great things. They got to be planned. They got to be properly sort of examined, costed, and everything else. So that's why the importance of charitable work. I find today, for example, is flourishing of NGOs. But, well, in a way, it looks good, isn't it? Also about helping. But many of these NGOs are actually completely secular, and some are actually quite bad. Some, under the pretense of caring for the rights of women, favor abortion, for example. And some, there are some forms of behavior. I don't want to have a go at any particular minority, but some forms of behavior which Christianity considers unacceptable. The secular world says, oh, it's fine, doesn't matter who you sleep with, or whatever, it's fine, your choice. Well, no. In Christianity, we believe that some forms of behavior which are not the will of God, they're not good. So we have also, this brings up an important point, that we live certainly, well, in Europe today in a very secularized society where governments and rulers and parliaments don't really particularly care for sacred texts or the will of God. We got to make a witness sometimes, not obviously play the fanatic, because of course they love to portray us as the fanatics and the people who want to persecute. We're not like that. And we got put our foot down and draw the line. No, we can't. No. Some of the early Christians said to the pagans, no, you kill your children because you don't like them. We don't do that. You fight in the arena like fight human beings in the arena. No, we don't do that. You shed the blood of innocent people. We don't do that. We are different from you. We behave in a different way.
What are the similarities between the Abrahamic faiths?
Now, this is a very important question because, yes, Judaism, Christianity, Islam are supposed to have, they do have a commonality. One of them is Abraham. And there is almost an industry which has come about, religious dialogue. Today, actually, by law, local councils have to have an interfaith group. So it's become a cottage industry, which is good. And especially after 9/11, I've been involved personally with this, opposing the idea of a clash of civilizations and opposing an attempt to discriminate on minorities. That is very good. However, I think today it is very important that we are not just resting, we do not rest contented with just, reiterating some pious platitudes or banalities, yes, but we try to go forward. And how do we go forward? Well, I would say again, there are areas in which we can fight together, cooperate, and of course peace is a very important one, justice is very important. And some, again, areas of, we can't agree with some forms of sexual behavior which today the West exalts, and Christianity, and maybe Muslims and Jews, we can say together that we